Hey, welcome back. I'm Rick Sanchez. There's something weird going on with this pandemic. I don't know if you've noticed, but it seems the poor are getting poorer and the rich are getting richer, much richer. For example, unemployment has hit record levels, but the top 12 earners in the United States have increased their wealth by 40% during the pandemic, and they now hold $1 trillion worth of assets. 12. Meanwhile, today, Apple became the first company to pass $2 trillion in market value. And then there's this. Warren Buffett, one of the world's richest men, is selling off his investments in banks like Wells Fargo, JP Morgan. And you know what he's doing? He's buying up gold. Why? Begs the question, doesn't it? What does Warren Buffett know that you and I don't know? And of course, the perpetual question that's always asked in these situations, is there a bubble on the horizon? Joining us now to try and analyze this is one of our favorite around here, Boom Bust co-host Christy I, who's good enough to share some of her wisdom with us, because this is something she seems to know a lot about. All right, let's start with Warren Buffett, Christy. Selling bank stocks and buying gold, that says to you what?
Well, right now, this is like a flight to safety that a lot of hedge funds have been positioning into. So a lot of hedge funds, Berkshire Hathaway included, they have been doing this rotation out of names such as bank stock and tech stocks simply because their valuations, they have been overstretched. And as you know, the technology stocks that you just named, Apple, Amazon, Google, they've been on a tear since this entire pandemic started. So it's no surprise that right now they're taking some profits off the table, which is to say that they're rotating out into some of the other safe haven names, such as gold. Gold has always been a safe haven, but even more so now, simply because the dollar, as we've talked about on this show, it's been constantly under pressure, and the dollar right now has hit a 2-year low on Tuesday, simply because investors are afraid of inflation. The central bank has been printing money nonstop. Constant liquidity injections, constant money market manipulations. So if they keep on pumping money, printing money nonstop, then the dollar is soon going to be worthless. So that is why investors, they fear this dollar devaluation, they fear this dollar inflation. So to hedge that, people are turning to gold, and also for that matter, digital gold as well, such as Bitcoin.
I talked to some investors this morning just checking to see what they thought about this Warren Buffett move. Many of them say it's extremely defensive on Warren Buffett's part and that it sends alarm bells to the market. What do you agree, first of all, with that?
Absolutely, and the market is sending its own alarm bells because, as I mentioned, the U.S. dollar index, it fell for 5 straight days, bringing it now year-to-date drop to about 4.2%. That means the U.S. dollar dropped 4.2% for investors. So that's a really big deal since it began its decline in March. So you do see the dollar losing its status as the backing of the financial backing of the world. So right now, hedge funds are also net short on the dollar for the first time since 2018.
So we get it. I mean, the Fed's put so much money into the market. Eventually, they have to run out at least of the ability to continue to do that. There's a lot of talk about inflation out there. The COVID-19 situation doesn't seem to want to fix itself anytime in the near future. So what does that send messages to the average person who's watching us out there, who's not one of the top 12 wealthiest person in the United States? Does it mean they need to get into things like cryptocurrency, into gold, for example, as a hedge or as a way of trying to support what they have or keep what they have?
It all depends on that individual's risk tolerance. Younger people tend to have a higher risk tolerance because they have their entire lives ahead of them in order to make additional money and save and grow their wealth. However, if you're in the older age bracket, you do want to conserve your wealth, preserve your wealth. If most of your wealth is denominated in U.S. dollars, you don't want to be caught in the situation where the dollar quickly devalues itself, as we have seen in very recent history, actually, in many countries such as Turkey, such as Venezuela. Not to say that the U.S. will go into one of those situations, but as you can see, a 4% drop in the dollar, that is something to be alarmed about. So as a hedge, gold, safety assets such as cryptocurrency, those things that do hold their value, those are obviously very good things to choose. And right now in the U.S. equity markets, that's where everybody goes to yield hunt. Because right now, with all the constant liquidity injections, it's great for the U.S. equity markets.
Yeah, if Warren Buffett says it's a good place to go, then I guess it's a good place to go. And so does Christy I, by the way. And they got about the same amount of money last time I checked. You can smile. Christy I, thanks so much for joining us. We certainly appreciate it.
Thank you.